The formula is QR times QR equals QL. The quality of your relationships multiplied by the quantity of your relationships equals the quality of your life. By now, you are clear about your values, purpose, mission, goals, and priorities. Now it is time for you to make up a list of all the people whose assistance and cooperation you will require to achieve your goal. Make a list. Begin with your family and friends. Include your boss and coworkers. Think about outside colleagues, your bank, your suppliers, and other people who can be of assistance to you. Think on paper. How can you respond to each person's favorite radio station? This is WIIFM, or What's in it for me? If you're in sales, entrepreneurship, or business of any kind, you can ask WIIFMC, which stands for What's in it for my customer? Today, because of the incredible competition for customers and the limited attention that customers can pay to you and your message, you have to practice give to get. You must become a go-giver rather than a go-getter. Put in before you take out. There seem to be two types of people in our society today, especially in those areas where money, status, fame, and success are concerned. There are people who see others as tools to be manipulated, people from whom they can gain something to their advantage. The other way of looking at people is to see them as unique individuals with wants, needs, and personalities that make them valuable within their own right. The first type of person, when they meet or even hear about someone new, is always asking, what can I get from this person? Think the way top people think. But the top people have a different attitude. They ask, what can I give to this person that they want, need, and appreciate that might be the beginning of a positive relationship? It seems that at every turning point in your life, a person will be standing there. When you look back over your life, beginning as a teenager, you'll note that the individuals you may have forgotten about had a major impact on the person you are today and on everything you've accomplished. Network regularly. Going back to the law of probability, which we discussed earlier, one of the most productive things you can do is to network with as many different people as possible throughout your life and your career. The bottom 80% of people in our society, those whose income has flattened out, who suffer job insecurity, and who are frustrated with their lives, usually go home every night and watch television or socialize with their friends. The top 20% of people, on the other hand, are continually seeking out opportunities to network and interact with other people they might be able to help, and who might be able to help them in return. One person can make a difference. Some years ago, I was speaking at a seminar for a national corporation. My talk was in the morning. The previous speaker decided to stay over an extra night so he could meet me and hear me speak. At that time, I had an ache in my left ankle that was causing me to limp a little. He noticed and asked me about it, then went back to his room and brought me a bottle of tablets that had been specially formulated for this type of joint pain. It was his personal supply, but he gave it to me and wished me luck. Take an interest in others. On a whim, I asked him, how is everything going for you in your career? We started talking, and it turned out that his biggest concern at that time was a real estate investment he had made in Massachusetts, just outside of Boston. He was in way over his head and did not know how to get out from under this burden. We were in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Some years before, I had worked with a real estate entrepreneur from Boston who now lived in Coral Gables. I picked up my phone, called him, and explained the situation. One call away. As it happened, my friend was quite familiar with the real estate development that this speaker was involved in. He made a couple of calls and put my friend in contact with a developer who was working on lands adjacent to these lands in Massachusetts. I learned later that over the next 9 months, they were able to refinance the land, sell it, and relieve my speaker friend's financial stress. You never know. When I thought back on that situation, I was amazed at how this small act of networking had worked out. The speaker brought me a small bottle of tablets for my ankle, and I learned about his problem and was able to put him together with exactly the right person who could help to save his financial life. The point is that you never know how or when someone can help you, nor do they know how and when you may help them. You must simply use the law of probability and keep expanding your network as wide as you can. As they say in fishing, cast a broad net. Be a joiner. Join your local business clubs and associations. Attend regularly. Get involved. Meet other people. But instead of looking for what they can do for you, look for something that you can do for them. When you meet a new person, rather than talking about yourself and shoving your business card into their hand, ask them about themselves and what sort of work they are doing. Especially ask them what you would need to know to send them a new customer. Help them first. The very best way to build friends and contacts in business is to look for ways to help other people to improve their sales and profitability. You'll often be amazed at how the most casual contact that you reach out to with the offer of a favor or kindness of some kind can turn into a major turning point in your life or business. When you meet a new person, make it a habit to respond immediately to that person in some way. Send them an email telling them how much you enjoyed meeting them and that you look forward to seeing them again. Attach a favorite article or piece of information to your email that might be helpful to the other person. Even better, send a handwritten thank you card to the new acquaintance telling them how much you enjoyed meeting them. Large things grow from small seeds. Many years ago, I read an article by the president of a large organization discussing an issue in which I had considerable interest. I immediately sat down and wrote this executive a letter, agreeing with his recommendations in the article and expressing the hope that someday we would cross paths when I was in his part of the country. About 3 years later, I was at a large national meeting and ran into this gentleman. He still remembered me from the letter. We began talking and eventually had lunch and dinner together. That chance meeting led to one of the closest and best personal friendships of my life, now going on more than 25 years. The Success Principle. One of my favorite success principles is, the more you give of yourself with no expectation of return, the more that will come back to you from the most unexpected sources. When you do a kindness or a favor for another person, you may never see that person again, but through some miracle of the universe, someone will appear to do a kindness or favor for you, exactly when you need it. The Bible says, whatever one sows, that will he also reap. When you sow seeds of helpfulness, friendliness, kindness, and generosity, you are doing your part. You do not have to worry where your benefits or returns will come from. Your job is to take care of the sowing. Nature and nature's God will take care of the reaping. Make people feel important. Mary Kay Ash, the founder of Mary Kay Cosmetics, one of the most successful network marketing companies in the world, was famous for saying that you should imagine that every person you meet has a sign around their neck that reads, "Make me feel important." This is the secret of excellent relationships with other people. 7 great behaviors. There are 7 behaviors you can practice with each new person you meet and with all the people in your life. When you practice these behaviors, you'll be amazed at how the quality of your life improves. Number 1, never criticize, condemn, or complain about people or their behaviors. Even if you disapprove, keep your opinions to yourself. As Frank Sinatra sang, if you can't say anything real nice, it's better not to talk at all, is my advice. Most people's conversations tend to be negative. They complain about a variety of things in their lives. They condemn people and situations for causing them problems and concerns. They criticize everyone around them with whom they disagree. They develop genuinely negative personalities. Don't join in. If other people speak in negative ways, you don't need to chip in. Simply listen quietly and then go on your way. Don't throw fuel on the fire. Number 2, be agreeable. The most popular people everywhere are people who are genuinely agreeable and friendly, no matter what is going on. Even if they disagree with you, they don't express it. Instead, they may ask questions to try to understand your position, but they're generally cheerful most of the time. Very often, there will be situations where you have arguments or disagreements with other people. But in most cases, these arguments or disagreements are not important. Ask yourself, what's important here? If it's not really important, just let it go. Be cheerful, open, and friendly. Be the positive type of person other people want to be around. Number 3, practice acceptance. Each person has a deep need to be unconditionally accepted by the other people in their lives. When you satisfy this need by practicing acceptance with each person you meet, you improve their self-image, raise their self-esteem, and make them feel better about themselves, and cause them to like and respect you even more. And how do you express acceptance? Simple. Just smile. Whenever you smile at another person, you are bathing them in acceptance and paying them value. When you smile at a person, it makes them feel attractive and important. It raises their self-esteem. And all it takes is a smile. Number 4, express appreciation. One of the most powerful ways to make a person feel important and to raise their self-esteem is to appreciate them for the large and small things they do. And how do you express appreciation? Simple. Just say thank you. Say thank you to everyone you live or work with for everything they do, small or large. Whenever you thank a person, they feel good about themselves, and as a result, they feel good about you. In addition, they want to do more of those things for which you are thanking them, so they can again trigger your response and the positive feelings that go with it. Number 5, express admiration. Abraham Lincoln said, "Everybody likes a compliment." Look for things to compliment and admire in others. Compliment them on their clothing, their personal possessions, and their hairstyle. Compliment them on their home, their car, and any of their possessions. Compliment them on their accomplishments and the look of their offices or workplace. Each time you compliment a person, you make them feel more valuable and important. As a result, they like you more and are more open to cooperating with you. And you can always find something you like about another person or about their possessions or achievements. Number 6, express approval. Praise and approval satisfy one of the deepest needs in human nature, the need to feel valuable. Whenever you praise people for anything, their self-esteem goes up immediately. They feel better about themselves. They like and respect you more as well. Praise people for large and small accomplishments. Praise people regularly when they do anything that is positive and productive in your eyes. One of the most powerful ways to motivate staff members or children is to continually praise them when they do something right. At the same time, refuse to criticize or complain when they make a mistake. Number 7, pay attention. One of the most powerful ways to make people feel valuable and important is to listen to them intently when they talk. Face them directly, lean slightly forward, and hang on every word they say. Imagine that your eyes are sun lamps, and you want to give the other person's face a tan. Bathe their whole face, especially their mouth and lips, with the warmth of your eyes. In effective listening, you should listen without interrupting or making any attempt to interrupt. Pause before replying to show that you are carefully considering what the person has just said. Number 8, question for clarification. Ask, how do you mean? If there is any possibility of misunderstanding. Remember, the person who asks questions has control. The more you ask questions and listen intently to the answers, the more the other person will like and trust you and feel comfortable in your presence. Finally, number 9, in conversation, feedback what the other person has said in your own words. This is the real acid test of listening. When you can paraphrase their comments in your own words, it shows the person you were really paying attention. When you go through life looking for ways to expand your contacts, seeking ways to help people before you ask them to help you, and making people feel important, they will line up to help you achieve your goals and hit your bullseye. Chapter 7, The Power of Persistence. Your ability and willingness to persist in the face of all setbacks and adversity is the most important single guarantor of your ultimate success. When you set big goals for yourself, the one thing you can be sure of is that you will immediately run into storms and headwinds. Often, immediately after setting a big goal, your life will go into a period of turbulence, and a series of unexpected setbacks and difficulties will occur. This is all to be expected. Set a big goal. One of my students set a goal in my seminar to double his income within 6 months. When he went to work on Monday, they announced the company was shutting down and he was being laid off, as was everyone else. He said to himself, "This is great. I set a goal to double my income, and now I'm unemployed." Later that week, his wife was out shopping, and she ran into an old friend of hers from school. As they chatted, the old friend said that her husband had just started a new business and was looking for a top salesman to sell their new product. The wife of the man from my seminar said that her husband was excellent in sales, and he just happened to be available. Could they set up a meeting? A blessing in disguise. The bottom line was that this man went to the interview that Friday and got the job. He started work the following Monday. The product was excellent, the company was successful, and within 2 months he was earning twice as much as he had ever earned in his life. He realized in retrospect that if he had not lost his previous job, he would never have been available to take a job where he actually achieved his goal. This sort of thing will happen to you as well. Bounce back from adversity. One of the measures of your character is how well you respond to adversity, how resilient you are, and how quickly you bounce back from unexpected difficulties. Napoleon Hill said, "Persistence is to the character of man as carbon is to steel." You never really know what you are made of deep down inside until you face what appears to be insurmountable problems. But the good news is that nature never sends you a problem too big for you to solve. There's no such thing as failure, only feedback. Character development. There are some powerful and proven techniques you can incorporate into your worldview to deal with the inevitable short-term failures and difficulties you will experience. Number 1, stay calm. Take a deep breath and just relax. When you become emotional or upset, your neocortex, your thinking brain where you reason and decide, shuts down. When you are angry or worried, you fall back on your amygdala, your animal brain responsible for the fight or flight reaction. In this state, you're much more likely to make bad decisions and choices and to say or do the wrong things. Instead, stay calm. Number 2, get the facts. No situation is ever as bad as it initially appears. Even if it is, be sure to get the facts before you respond. Ask questions. What exactly happened? How exactly did it happen? Who was involved? How can we be sure? You will often find that you are misinformed. You heard of something that turned out not to be true or was only partially true. The more you ask questions, as top people do, the longer you remain calm and in complete control of your thinking and your emotions. It's very hard to ask questions and become upset at the same time. Number 3, look for the good in every situation. Some of your greatest successes in life will originally appear to be setbacks or problems that could have caused you a great deal of stress and anxiety. When you look back on your life's experience, you will find that losing a job or a relationship, or even going broke in a business, contain valuable insights and ideas that enabled you to be successful and happy later in life. There's always something good. After interviewing 500 of the most successful people in contemporary history over a period of 22 years, Napoleon Hill came to this conclusion. Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. Your job is to find it. Whenever W. Clement Stone faced a problem, he would immediately neutralize it by saying, "That's good." Then, he and the people around him would go to work to find something good in the setback or difficulty that had occurred. Here is a wonderful discovery. If you look for the good in any situation, you will always find something good. Sometimes the good you find will have far more benefit or advantages than anything you might have lost. 4. Seek the valuable lesson in every difficulty or temporary failure. This is one of the greatest success secrets of all. Difficulties come not to obstruct, but to instruct. Develop the habit of dealing with each problem with a complete confidence that it contains a valuable lesson that you can use to be more successful in the future. Your biggest problem. What is your biggest problem in your life today? Everyone has a series of problems that they are working on, but everyone also has one big problem that causes them more worry, concern, or frustration than any other. What is yours? Now, imagine that this problem has been sent to you as a gift to teach you a valuable lesson you need to learn so that you can be happier and more successful in the future. Look for the gift. Norman Vincent Peale said, "When God wants to send you a gift, he wraps it up in a problem. The bigger the problem he wraps it up in, the bigger the gift that it contains." What is the gift? The valuable lesson wrapped up inside the biggest problem or difficulty you are wrestling with today. Wonderfully enough, if you look for the gift or valuable lesson, you will always find it. In fact, if it is a big enough or long-lasting enough problem or difficulty, it may contain several gifts. And the more you examine the problem and seek the gifts, the more gifts you will uncover. Learn from your mistakes. I went through a difficult business situation some years ago. When it was over, I had lost a good deal of money and sleepless nights. I sat down with a piece of paper. At the top of the page I wrote, "What lessons have I learned from this situation?" I then disciplined myself to write down 20 different lessons I had learned from that major business problem. Those lessons served to help and guide me in countless business situations in the months and years that followed. Those lessons helped me to make good decisions and recoup all my losses. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes in life. They are inevitable and unavoidable. The only wrong thing is not to learn from the mistakes. You want to extract every possible bit of insight and piece of knowledge you possibly can so that you don't make those same mistakes again. 1. Accept responsibility for the problem, whatever it is. Don't fall into the loser's trap of flailing around and blaming everybody and everything for something that has happened. Instead, simply say, "I am responsible." Even if you're not responsible for what happened, you are responsible for the way you respond to what happened. By accepting responsibility and refusing to blame anyone or anything for what has happened, you remain calm and positive. You remain in control of the situation. Your mind functions at its very best to help you solve the problem or resolve the difficulty. 2. Be solution-oriented. One of the characteristics of top people is that they think about solutions most of the time. They recognize that life will be an endless succession of problems, like waves from the ocean that never stop. Therefore, they decide not to become or remain upset about problems. Instead, they look for and focus on the solutions. They are constantly thinking in terms of actions they can take to solve the problem, remove the roadblock, and start moving ahead. 3, pre-program your mind. One of the most important lessons I ever learned was that you have the ability to pre-program your mind so you respond in a particular way when the situation arises. For example, you can decide in advance that no matter what happens, you will never give up. You will persist until you succeed. You will try a variety of different things, but you will not stop until you ultimately achieve your goal. Like an alarm clock. Once you have programmed yourself in this way, and you face adversity or failure of any kind, you will automatically react like an alarm clock going off and find yourself bouncing back from the initial shock and disappointment. You will automatically feel resilient and positive. Ultimately, you will become unstoppable. There's a powerful method of problem-solving and decision-making used at the highest levels of business and government. It is both simple and powerful. First, define the problem clearly. Fully 50% of problems can be solved immediately if you can define them clearly in the first place. Then ask, what else is the problem? Beware of any problem for which there is only one definition. The more ways you can define a particular problem, the more likely it is you will find the right definition that leads to the correct solution. Once you've decided exactly what the problem is, ask, what is the solution? Again, beware of a problem for which there is only one solution. Once you have developed a solution, ask, what else is the solution? There is a direct relationship between the number of possible solutions you generate and consider and the quality of the solution you ultimately choose and implement. Quantity of solutions leads to quality of decision-making. Worst possible outcome. One of the ways to minimize or eliminate worry associated with a problem or difficulty and regain calmness and clarity is for you to fill out the disaster report. First, define the problem clearly, preferably in writing. The act of writing out a clear definition of the problem dramatically clarifies your thinking and makes the problem more amenable to a solution. Second, ask, what is the worst possible outcome of this problem? What is the worst thing that could happen? Then, be open and honest and deal directly with the worst thing that could happen in this problem situation. Third, resolve to accept the worst should it occur. At this point, a most amazing thing happens to you. Once you have defined the worst possible outcome, and you have resolved to accept this should it occur, your worry drops away. All your stress and tension evaporates. You once again feel calm, collected, and in complete control. Fourth, begin immediately to improve upon the worst. Begin immediately to do everything you possibly can to make sure that the worst possible outcome does not occur. This four-step method is really quite phenomenal. You can use it when you face any problem or difficulty in any part of your life. Define the problem clearly, determine the worst possible outcome, resolve to accept the worst should it occur, and then get busy improving upon the worst to make sure that it doesn't happen. Eliminate worry and stress. Finally, to eliminate worry and develop persistence, get so busy working on your goal that you don't have time to worry about your problems or difficulties. The only real cure for worry is persistent, continuous action in the direction of your most important goal. For you to hit your bullseyes in life, you must be perfectly clear about what they are, your goals. You must have plans of activity that you work on every day. You must focus and concentrate on the most important things you can do to achieve your most important goals. You must resolve to persist until you succeed. You must make the decision in advance that no matter what happens, you will never give up. If you do these things over and over again, you will develop the lifelong habit of high achievement. You will accomplish more in the next few months than many people accomplish in several years. Good luck, and thank you for listening.